Hey, fundraiser, have you ever wondered what a major gift coach does all day? Well, I'm about to spill the beans. Welcome to a week in the life of a major gift coach. So, I am Mary, and I get to spend my joyful days helping nonprofit leaders build really smart, strategic major gift strategies and close transformational gifts. Now, when I say transformational gifts, I'm talking six, seven, eight, and nine figure gifts for their nonprofits. And it's a lot more than just closing those gifts. Most of my day is spent on mindset and helping people with confidence and helping people just understand the process of what does it take to get in the door with high net worth individuals, cultivate a really trust-based, strength-based relationship, and then ultimately ask for a very large gift and get it. So, in this episode, I'm going to take you through a week of my life, the good stuff, the bad stuff. You're going to see all of the things that have transpired over the last week. So, I literally have to go to my notes because there is so many things. But before I get started, if you're a fundraiser and you need clarity, you're looking for confidence, and you're just looking to raise bigger gifts kind of without being pushy and really working to inspire people to make that large stock transfer or cut a large check, then you are in the right place. So let's just dive into Monday. So every Monday morning, I start with a private coaching call with Heather. And Heather is one of my most favorite private coaching clients. And she's also so funny. We pretty much laugh the entire time because I never know what's going to come out of her mouth. But we've been working together for about 6 weeks. And in that time, we have completely revamped her major gift materials and we've honed her prospect list. And in the last 6 weeks, she's already closed a $35,000 gift. It's not the biggest gift in the world, but it was her first large gift that she solicited. And so it was just really good for her confidence. But what we've been working on the last couple weeks is a $250,000 gift. She's not asked for a gift this size before. She has a really good relationship with the family. And over the last 2 weeks, we have been strategizing, we've been role playing about how should she ask. One of the things that we did decide to do was to send this $250,000 proposal to the family before she sits down with them on Thursday. So I met with her last Monday and we did confidence building exercises. We talked through how to engage program participants in the tour. She runs a camp for kids and adults, and the family was coming to the camp. So we really talked through how can we make this an unforgettable experience for this family. So I will tell you at the end of this video how she did with her ask on Thursday. Okay, next thing I did was I met with a new potential coaching client, which was very exciting. So it's a theater. They need to raise about $3 million dollars over the next 12 months. Now, my meeting was with the board chair, who has kind of taken on fundraising. They've had a lot of change. They've had an executive director leave quite quickly. And so the board is really leaning in and trying to figure out what to do. And they've been doing all the things that they think is right. So they've been applying for grants and they're thinking about a big gala. And we talked through many different strategies that don't involve grants and do not involve gala. In fact, I had said to her, my perfect event is like you sitting around a dinner table with five couples, and those five couples could each write a check for $50,000, which was mind blowing to her. Like, oh my gosh, I thought I had to have this huge gala and I thought I had to do all these things and spend 6 months, trying to plan something. And that's just really not the case. So we had a 30-minute meeting and I learned a lot. I learned that they're paying a consultant $10,000 a month, and that consultant hasn't helped bring in $1 yet. and he's been helping them for almost a year. What they need is a major gift program, and their current consultant really hasn't helped build the structure or the infrastructure for major gifts. And the board is frustrated. And that's why she scheduled a call with me. So, in this call, one of the things that we explored was really the difference between a fundraising consultant and a major gift coach. So, a major gift coach is going to teach you how to fish. They're going to be shoulder to shoulder with you on solicitations. They're going to help you write your proposals. They're going to hone your prospect list. They're going to do role playing with you. A consultant, many of the consultants that I've seen in the past tend to operate in a more theoretical view or an assessment role. So they'll tell you the best practices. They don't necessarily tell you exactly how to achieve those best practices. A coach is going to roll up their sleeves and help you get that done. So we really talked through, I gave her my 5 best strategies for launching a major gift program. And I think she's going to come on board. And so we'll see. Next, I met with a young man named Connor. He's a new major gift officer, and he's been in the field about 2 to 3 years, and he's a one-person shop. And his goal is to raise $250,000 this year. He purchased my major donor meeting mastery course because he kind of lives he feels like he's on an island. He doesn't have anybody else to brainstorm with. Everybody else in their organization has their own roles and doesn't really understand or can help him with major gifts. And he's so eager and open to learning. He was so joyful to meet with, actually. And it took me back. It took me back 20, 25 years. I remember wanting to know all the information. I remember wanting to know, how long do you cultivate? When do you know when it's the right time to ask for a gift? How do I know that this is the right prospect? I mean, just all of these questions were pouring out of him. And he was asking all the right things. And, I told him some of these things I can coach you on. Some of these things you have to just learn on the job. I can teach you how to handle a no in a solicitation, but until you really go through it, it's it's just something you have to learn as you go. Um, so, we talked about, what do you do when a prospect ghosts you? We talked about 15 different ways to ask for a gift. I mean, he wanted to know, and he was so hungry for information. He wanted to know the exact verbiage that I use when asking for a gift. And this actually took me many years, but I have 15 different ways to ask for a gift, based on the personality of the donor. So, for example, if you're sitting down with an attorney and you know that this attorney loves to negotiate, I wouldn't do my normal, Mr. Jones, would you consider a gift of 100,000 this year to support, the food pantry? If this was somebody who loved to negotiate and found joy in negotiating, I wouldn't use my normal ask. I would say something like, Mr. Jones, what would it take to get you to $100,000 this year for the food pantry? Totally different ask. So I think he walked away feeling a little inspired, feeling better, which was good because he feels like he's, drinking from the fire hose, but he has multiple fire hoses. So he's a one-person shop and he's doing the best he can do. Um, I actually am going to invite him to join my fundraising collective, which really would give him access to all my trainings, and I'd get a monthly call with him. And he's just trying to piece together a major gift strategy from like free webinars and online blogs. And it's going to take him 20 years. Um, what I could teach him in 1 year, right? And the fundraising collective is a 1 year program. So after I met with Connor, I think I'm on like Tuesday or Wednesday now, by the way. I met with Andrew, who is one of my absolute favorite people in the world. He's he is a member of my fundraising collective, and I've been advising him on how to land some big fish in like the DC, Maryland area. Now, he's getting the meetings. He's doing all the right things. He's cultivating, he's watched all the materials. He's a great student. Like he's listening, he's absorbing, he's going and doing the things. But where he is now is he needs to start asking for a gift. He needs those solicitation muscles. So I told him he has a big ask coming up next week. It's for $1 million, which is a big deal for him. And I said to him, Andrew, why don't you write a proposal and send it to me? Like, what do you want to say to this gentleman when you pitch him? And he sent back a 33-page document. Now, this 33-page document, it was beautifully written. It was so informative and it was really great. But I had to break the news to him that it was just too much. So I took his proposal and I read it several times and I whittled it down to 4 pages. And he works for an arts organization. So even though it's 4 pages, it's got, beautiful people showing them playing instruments and doing all kinds of cool things. So if you look at the text, it's really probably a page and a half. But it's got, really engaging pictures, really strong impact statements. And so he was very excited to see the 4 pager. And I know he's going to use it on a solicitation next week. But the most important thing that I think he walked away with was that sometimes less is more. Like he just wanted to say so much. He wanted to prove that his organization was so worthy of $1 million gift that he was actually over explaining things. And so that was a really good lesson for him. And I can't wait to hear next week if he closes the gift. We even talked through the exact verbiage that he's going to use with this philanthropist. And he was really cute. He wrote it on a sticky note. He was like, I'm going to write it on my mirror. I'm going to have sticky notes all over the place so I know exactly what I need to say when I ask for this gift. So fingers crossed that he closes this gift. Okay, the next person I met with was one of my private coaching clients who is really new to major gift work. She's a brilliant researcher, and we're working together on raising $1.5 million over the next 4 to 6 months. She's an executive director, and it's really been lovely working with her because she just asks all the right questions. And I'm constantly reminded with her that what we do as executive directors, as major gift officers, as directors of development, just people who work with high net worth individuals to close big gifts for amazing organizations in this country is it's an art. I mean, what we do is there's a science, but it is truly an art. And I'm just constantly reminded of that when I work with her. She's lovely, she's warm, so thoughtful, and she's actually a born fundraiser. She just really doesn't know it yet. So we've been working together for 1 month now, and there are two huge philanthropists, major philanthropists, that we're in the door with. Each of them could easily make a six-figure gift. So we have meetings with both of those people in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so we're prepping for those, but we're also working on opening doors with about 20 other prospects in Boston and New York. So I spent much of last week actually writing, really tailored emails for her to send to introduce herself and to ask for a meeting. Now, some of these emails are getting through and we're getting great responses, and some aren't. So it was very interesting, explaining to her that it really is a numbers game. We need to cast a wide net to make sure that we get as many people as we need. Now, all of the 20 prospects, I just so it's said out loud, all of these 20 prospects have been qualified. I did research on all of them. So they're definitely the right people. But I really was working to explain to her that we want to create space where people can self-identify. We're reaching out and they can raise their hand and say, I want to hear more about this project. I'm very interested. And so she's learning, she's picking all the things up. She's so smart, and going to be extremely successful in her career with major gifts. Now, something interesting I did for this particular client, and really it was because she's learning and she's so new to major gifts, was I built her a prospect strategy map that demonstrates exactly exactly how we'll go about closing major gifts. And included in that strategy map was like a communication touchpoint calendar because I wanted her to understand, you know, exactly how many cultivation touchpoints it takes to get from identification to cultivation and cultivation to solicitation and solicitation into stewardship. And so that's been really helpful for her to understand the structure. And she's asked, like she wants to know the structure so that she can know what's next, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I actually really love the design. I'm actually going to implement that into all my future private coaching clients because it's just such a nice way to look at our prospects and everything that's kind of going on. Um, but she has two huge meetings coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that I'm very excited about. I know she's a little nervous, but we're going to work through those nerves before the meeting. Let's see. Next, I onboarded a new Major Gift Momentum member. So that was very fun. So she lives in Los Angeles and she works for a super cool organization. Now, she met me about 4 months ago and her new fiscal year actually just started. So I just onboarded her this week. When I met with her 4 months ago, she was actually in her budget process. And she said, I'm going to budget for momentum because I need that extra oomph to kind of get me to my goals this year. Now, I stayed in touch with her. She stayed in touch with me. But I'll tell you what, 5 days before her new budget kicked in, she reached out and said, we're ready to go. I want to start this, first week of July. I have a new budget. Like, let's get this party started, which I kind of love about her. So the first thing I do when somebody joins Major Gift Momentum is I sit down and I do like a 60-minute deep dive with them so that I understand what their goals are, not just monetarily, but professionally. Like I want them to get the most out of the program. And so I can ask them like what their goals are work wise, but I can also kind of ask in a very safe, brave space, what do we need to work on for you? Is it getting that promotion? Is it, a weak spot that you can tell me, but you don't really want to talk to your boss about it because you fear that you'll look weak? And so it's really good to have that 60-minute deep dive to really understand where people are coming from. So some immediate needs that surfaced were that she really didn't have a system for identifying prospects and then taking those prospects through like a really sophisticated moves management system. So that's the first thing I'm going to be working on. And I'm going to retool, I think, a lot of their major gift materials. We spent a lot of time discussing how to solicit large gifts that are completely unrestricted. And there's a very specific way to do that. So typically in major gift fundraising, as you probably know, like the larger the gift, the more restrictions are put on. But what she's working on, and we're really going to work on together, is how to inspire 5, 6, and 7 figure gifts with no strings attached. And so I'm excited for that. And it's kind of a new challenge for her. And now that I know what she wants to work on, both professionally and personally, I can kind of tailor the momentum program to just so that she just gets the most out of it as possible. Okay, let's see. I also had a meeting with a new client. This is a private coaching client, and I'm coaching their entire major gift team, which is about 10 individuals. Now, this client is very interesting, and I'm kind of salivating actually. This client has quite a few mid-level prospects, and they're looking to really move a lot of their mid-level prospects into major gifts. They literally have thousands of individuals giving between 1K and 5K. And while some are graduating up, right, to 100,000 or $500,000 gifts, they really want to inspire seven-figure gifts. Like the organization has only closed, you know, maybe five in a multi-decade history. So the interesting thing about this client is that they could be deeply affected by potential rescissions from the big, beautiful bill that was just recently passed by Congress. So we really talked through how to come at that from a strength-based approach. Because one, nobody wants to give to a sinking ship. But two, one thing that I often coach my people on is, your philanthropists, they're always going to come from a place of abundance. Okay. We in the nonprofit sector, because we deal with real scarcity every day, typically come from a place of scarcity. And so there's this constant disconnect between what the donor sees and what the nonprofit is asking for. And so we've really started to think through this could be, quite a blow to their finances if funding from the government is cut. Like, how do we do this from a strength-based place? Because there is very specific language that high net worth individuals respond to. And so one of the things I'm working on is their messaging. It's very critical. And we're also working on looking at their portfolios. Like, are these 10 people, the 10 major gift officers, are they working the right people? Um, do they have the people who could give seven figures? All of the things. So I'm really excited about kicking things off with this new organization. And so I want to go back actually to Heather, who we started this video with. Heather had a $250,000 ask on Thursday this week. Now, sorry, it's so funny. She called me before, like the night before the ask, and she said, I just want to know if it's normal to feel half excited and half nauseous about this $250,000 gift. And of course, very normal. But that's what your major gift coach does. They're available to you when you need a pep talk. They should be there. Side note, I once had one of my coaching clients call me from the driveway of a major gift donor. The major gift officer was sitting in the driveway and she was going in and she was going to ask for a six-figure gift. And this was her first ask. Now, we had been through all the things she had cultivated beautifully, but she called. She could not get out of the car. So I said, Anna, we got to get out of the car. And we're talking through, you've done all the right things. This is going to be okay. And then she says, oh, now they're looking out the window at me. It was a whole situation, but she did. She got out of that car and she closed a $250,000 gift that day. So that's just a little side note about, a major gift coach is somebody that is just going to be there, not to really assess you or to do a feasibility study or something like that most consultants do. They're literally going to be shoulder to shoulder with you in the good times and the bad times. Okay, so back to Heather. So she had this tour. She was asking for a $250,000 gift. She left me, we talked about the nausea versus the excitement, and she did all the things right. She brought the donors in. The donors showed up early, which threw her for a loop. They were about 10 minutes early, and she was still getting things ready. So that was a good learning for her was is to be ready 30 minutes early because donors can be early. So she brought them into the camp. They sat down in her office. They looked at some architectural renderings for a garden. This is a naming opportunity for that garden. And Heather also had they want to put a statue in. So she had a small desktop version of the statue that they could show the prospects. Um, the prospects, they got a huge kick out of a card from all the kids that the kids had signed. They took a tour of the garden, and Heather went through all of the things that need to happen for the garden. And the prospects asked really great questions. The challenge is that Heather did not get a commitment that day. So she was feeling anxious, and she called, and of course we talked through it. And now a couple days have passed, and we had another coaching session. And today we sat down and we wrote a text from Heather to these two individuals saying, thank you so much for coming. I'm here to answer any questions. I'll be in touch later in the week to kind of follow up and see if you need anything. And she immediately got a response back that said, that sounds great. We're close to making our decision. We're looking forward to you being in touch. And so it was just nice for her to end on a positive. She was thinking that she did something wrong, which she did not. Sometimes donors just need more time to make their decision. So it wasn't a no, it was more of like a not now. And they just needed a couple more days to kind of think about that. So I just wanted to fill you in on Heather so you knew the whole scoop of that $250,000 gift. Okay, fundraiser. Well, you probably learned a lot more than you've ever needed to know about what it's like to be a major gift coach. But one thing I can tell you, it is the best job in the world because I get to work with people who love their job and want to make change in the world, and then work with the philanthropists who can actually fund that change in the world. And so every day is very joyful, even the hard ones. And so if you're looking for a coach, if you need advice, I'm going to put some links in the show notes and below this video. And I'm always just an email away. Okay, thanks, fundraiser.